Är det rätt som vi gör I Sverige att avreglera? Eller ska vi välja en annan modell?
Well, it's been a lot of things said, but maybe if I may comment on the first question, whether France or Sweden is on its right path, I think both ways work, as long as it's a coherent view. I think we've gone far further in implementing the fourth railway package, which is now being proposed by the Commission to move forward in the separation and commercialization of the industry. There are a few challenges. We've spoken about the cooperation side, which is important, and in order to understand the cooperation properly, one needs to understand the customer, because everybody in this system has a customer and a supplier relation, and we think we need to find common denominators to drive this way forward to get the best benefit out of the system. The rail system itself was put under heavy stress during a couple of winters ago, when, due to the fact that the commercialization of all stakeholders had led to an efficiency improvement internally, whilst when the system was put under stress due to the winter situation, the flaws became apparent, so it wasn't possible to run the rail service as it was expected. That doesn't mean we should look back and go back to the time when everything was fully integrated. It just means that we need to continue to work to improve, because as the Japanese said with the Kaizen philosophy, you continue to work to improve the system and you never stop. It's like cycling. You don't stop cycling. You just keep going forward because there will be new challenges coming up constantly. That's where I'm lacking now. We need to see the way forward and the process in a different way that we have to achieve. And following then the question how we organize the system itself. Organization is important, but it's a way to support the overriding objective. What do we really need the railway for? What do we expect it to deliver? Is it the solution for everything, or is it something that is there to support our business and regional development? Where I'm coming from, I would say rail plays a role when it comes to industrial competitiveness and regional growth. If we focus on these areas, we are bound to achieve. We need to take the proper measures to support that objective. I haven't seen the philosophy behind the deregulation per se. We didn't set out objectives when we started to deregulate. We want to achieve a growth in 25% or something, and followed up on these questions. We launched the process, there were some solutions that were implemented, and then we took it forward. But we didn't really establish why we did it, and we will also follow up on what we're doing. We're taking those measures now, but it wasn't taken beforehand.
Thank you. And you, Mr. Sundling?
To the first question, I think there is only one model, and that is to create value to your customers and value to your owner. And you can organize that however you want, as long as you deliver. But what we must realize is that we have to be consequent, and we have to be willing to take the consequences of making this a valuable system. For Sweden, it means that the operators today, the old monopolists, for example, Green Carbon, SJ, it remains only 40% of the employees that worked there 10-15 years ago. A very hard efficiency is put on those companies. Only 40% of the wagons and the trains are there today, because the rest was not used. But if we kept them, we used them. So we had to get rid of them. And we did that by implementing new IT systems that optimized the systems and so on. In our country, the political systems are not allowed to interfere, even though we are state-owned. They are not allowed to interfere what we do. Of course, they can fire us, but they are not allowed to call me and say, Jan, hey, you can't lay off 2,000 persons. They can't interfere, because it's not allowed. But you have to do it decent, of course. In other countries that I have met, the political systems want the railway operators to be efficient, but they don't want them to lay off people, because then they are not re-elected again. And that doesn't work. So you have to be willing, as an operator and as a political system, to take the consequences to make the railway system profitable. And the dirigent, do you say that in English? Conductor. Dirigent was Swedish. The conductor of the orchestra is, from my point of view, Trafikverket. It's the infrastructure holder that is part of the political system, that has the rules and the regulation from the political system, but they are doing it in the daily operation. They are the conductor.
Regarding the education, I think that typically when the deregulation or re-regulation actually started, when we set up the new framework, we solved a number of problems, but we also created a few that we weren't aware of. I recall when this started in 1980 1988 and the division between SJ and Bombardier, and then it took further on with new operators coming in. All of a sudden it emerged a need for locomotive driver education. Why should SJ, previously the only one who had trained locomotive drivers, train locomotive drivers for their competition? Further competitors emerged and the same question was there. Then, therefore, the market created a demand for education in the KU sector, the KY sector. So now there are sufficient skills available for locomotive drivers coming from the KY sector. Trafikverket faces the same challenges. Trafikverket has today the ferry redery, the ferry department, is the museum department, which is part of Trafikverket, not necessarily the core business. How do you settle that? We have a similar situation with track maintenance and track maintenance machines. The machinery for ballast pumping or track cleansing is extremely expensive equipment. How do you train people to run them in the future? What has happened? Klas, who is a major supplier of equipment, is setting up their own training school to train people on their equipment, as the market doesn't support efficient ways of training. So as we move along, we need to see where are the flaws and how we can correct them. But we shouldn't dare not to look into these questions and say, oh, it was better before. Let's see how they take them on and make it open for different new solutions, just as you're doing here. Taking this step further is one of the pieces of the puzzle. If the market opens up, there could be more opportunities in a similar way.
Thank you.